Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I'm showing you how I make my skin moisturizing homemade bath bombs. They are delightfully scented, colorful, and they're easy to make. And as usual, I only use a couple of ingredients. Want to see exactly how I make these bath bombs? Well, keep watching. So before we get started, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I create a new video. Now let's hop into these ingredients. So ingredients I'll be using include baking soda, citric acid, sodium lauryl sulfur acetate, and babasu oil. So there are a couple of more ingredients, but I'll get to those in a moment. So I'm starting by measuring out some baking soda, and this is the first ingredient that I'll be using for these bath bombs. So I'm measuring out about a cup of baking soda. Now baking soda is what's going to help give our bath bombs the fizzy and foamy action that we get when we put them into the bathtub once it's combined with some of the other ingredients that I'll be using. So now that I've measured out my baking soda, I'm going to go ahead and transfer it to a large bowl in order to sift it. So I'll be using a medium-sized bowl and a sifter just to make sure that there are no large clumps in my baking soda. And as you can see, the sifter that I'm using is pretty small, and there are certainly larger sifters that you can use, but this one is the one that I had on hand, and since it's a homemade DIY, I just work with what I have. So this next ingredient is called sodium lauryl sulfur acetate, or SLSA. So I'm measuring out about half a cup of this ingredient, and sodium lauryl sulfur acetate is derived from palm oil and coconut oil, and it gives bath bombs nice lavish bubbles. So as you can see, I'm also sifting out this product just to ensure that there are no large clumps. So next, I'm going to be using some citric acid. So when you combine citric acid and baking soda together, it creates a chemical reaction that really causes your bath bombs to fizz and foam. And with the addition of the sodium lauryl sulfur acetate, it's going to bubble up and it's going to give you a fizzy, foamy, bubbly bath bomb. So I added all of my ingredients to my stand mixer just to make sure that the three ingredients are blended really well before I move on to the next step. So you can certainly use a spatula and just stir up this mix, but I prefer to use my stand mixer. So next, I'm going to measure out some babasu oil, and babasu oil is a very moisturizing plant-based oil that comes from the babasu palm tree, and it's perfect for moisturizing the skin. And now I'm adding in some polysorbate 80, and the polysorbate 80 is going to help the color that I'll be adding a little bit later, as well as the oil mixed together and spread out in the bath water. So now that I've added my polysorbate 80 and my oil, I'm just stirring them together to make sure that it's mixed really well. So here's another ingredient that I didn't mention at the beginning of the video. This is my fragrance oil. So the fragrance oil that I'm using is called Energy, and it is very uplifting and energizing. So I wanted to have a kind of fruity, energizing bath bomb, but if you're looking for something that's more relaxing, don't hesitate to try other scents. That's the beauty of making your own bath bombs. You can add whatever scent you like. So now that I have my oils and my fragrance mixed together, I'm just going to pour it into my dry ingredients, which is my baking soda, my citric acid, and my SLSA. And I'm just adding a little bit of the wet ingredients at a time because I don't want my mixture to get too wet all at once. I'm trying to create a mixture that feels gritty and moist and not wet and soggy. So this next step is very important because you don't want your mixture to be overly saturated and soggy. So I'm just filling my mixture with my hand to see what the consistency is like. I can see that it's not where I want it to be yet, so I'm adding in a little bit more of my wet mix to give it a little bit more moisture so that I can get the perfect consistency. Now let's check one more time, and this feels exactly how the consistency should feel. It's wet enough to stick together and not crumble. So now it's time to move on to the next step. So I'm just detaching my stand mixer bowl away from the mixer, and I'm going to separate my mix into 4 different bowls so that I have equal parts in each bowl. So for this next step, I have some 91% alcohol on hand that I put in a spray bottle and can spritz my mixture with if it starts to dry out. I also have 3 pigment colors that I'll be using to color my bath bombs. And the first color I'm using is a lilac color. And I'm just mixing my color into my bath bombs with my hand. So you can add as much or as little of this color as you want. The more color you add, the more intense your color will be. So I really think bath bombs are fun to have in the bathroom all year long, and there are so many colors and scents that you can experiment with. And in addition to being a nice way to add some pizzazz and moisturizer to your bath, they can also be put in a clear see-through jar in the bathroom for a nice decorative touch. So this next step is where things can actually get a little messy. It's now time to place my bath bomb mixture into my molds. So this particular mold that I'm using is metal, but there are other types of molds that you can use, including plastic and silicone. It's really a personal preference to see what works best for the type of project that you're creating. I say try them all. So with these bath bombs, I'm not really trying to create a specific design. I just wanted to add a bunch of different colors together to see what my results would be. And of course, I want them to be moisturizing. So you can certainly be more strategic if you're trying to get a specific design. But if you're a beginner, I would say that this is a pretty easy method to begin with. So now that I have the first half of the mold filled, let's move on to the next step. So guys, the next step is just to fill the other half of the molds with the bath bomb mix. So now that both halves of the bath bomb molds are filled, be sure to smash them together as tight as possible so that they can mold together as one while they're drying. Now I'm placing them in an egg crate so that they don't roll around and they set perfectly. So now I'm just going to remove the bath bombs from the mold and make sure that they are hard to the touch. And they are, guys. These are my bath bombs. So it looks like they came out great. The colors actually look really nice. And like I said, I wasn't trying to create any amazing design. I just wanted a really colorful bath bomb that's moisturizing, foamy, fizzy, and colorful. So I've just shown you how to make homemade moisturizing DIY colorful bath bombs. So let's go ahead and test it out. So guys, if you like this video, go ahead and check out some of my other DIY skincare videos that I have on the channel. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Also, products that I use can be found in the description box below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!